Everyone, and a special welcome today on this interview with Dr. Bindu Babu from New York. My name is Ingun, and I'm the founder of Female Wave of Change and a global movement for women on empowerment, creating awareness of what is going on. And each month we have this special topic to talk about, and this month of May it is the month of our health and well-being. So I invited Dr. Bindu to share a little bit more about who she is, her background, and what she's dealing with on a daily basis, but also what her vision is on this topic for the future. So the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you for having me, Ingun. This is wonderful. I mean, it's a great opportunity to talk to so many globally, women as well as men, on this topic, because today, I want to bring up a little bit about narcissism. It's one of the personality disorders, and I think it's kind of overlooked in so many ways because of lack of recognition and lack of awareness, because people really don't know what they're actually getting into when they actually deal with a narcissist. First of all, they don't understand that person could be a narcissist. They don't understand signs and symptoms of narcissism, because the last thing you're going to think is there's some sort of actual personality disorder in the person you're dealing with. And especially if it's somebody you love. It's very difficult, it's heartbreaking, it's hurting, and it's hard to understand this concept of two-way relationship with somebody who is actually really hurting you, and unfortunately purposely for their ego and their fulfillment. And it's a hard disorder. Narcissism, you can see it in a family member, you can see it in relationships. I am a person who actually was dealing with a narcissist. I was married to one. And that's how I even brought that awareness to myself, because I didn't even know what hit me. And I am a physician, who's read about narcissism, who, I don't treat a narcissist because, first of all, a narcissist can't get treated. But it's not something that would come up and pop into your face. And it becomes a very toxic relationship. And a lot of women deal with that. And it really leaves them to a complete shell of themselves, What can I say?
Well, maybe you can share a little bit more about your background, because that also helps you in the way that you work with women, mostly, who are dealing with narcissism.
Well, so what I do is I am a transformational life coach, quantum-based, and I am a physician, but I went and did my doctorate in natural medicine. I did my PhD in integrative medicine. I'm a certified life coach, and I really sit down and I'm specialized with narcissistic relationships, the healing and recovery. When I say that, it's because most women who do get involved with a narcissist, first of all, they don't know they're involved with one. And a narcissist is a person who's completely egotistical and about themselves. And they are a person who don't know how to love, period, because they've never been loved in their life. And what they do is they kind of live off their prey, they catch usually, and let's take a scenario between a man and a woman. If there's a male narcissist, they catch a female who is very well established, very together, financially independent, completely stable. We're talking about CEOs, physicians, attorneys, engineers, whatever you say, very, very well qualified people. And they kind of really brainwash them and manipulate them to such a degree where they're left with a shell of themselves. And it's a very toxic cycle that they're in. The first is the love bombing, where, they meet the person and it's such a rapid courtship. Like within 3 months, like you would believe that person's your soulmate. Very, very convincing. The flowers, the sharing of gifts, the complete attention on just you. It's just so unbelievable, the amount of love and attention that you receive from your narcissist, that you think you met the love of your life. You know, there's nothing beyond it. And you get so focused and convinced by their actions, their words, and what they're saying, you know? And then next thing you know, that rug is just pulled out under you. And that person basically belittles you for every little thing you do. Everything you do is wrong. Everything you say is wrong. Everything is your fault. From the way you wash a dish to the way you speak to somebody. You can be speaking to another man, and you can just be shaking their hand, and that person, your partner, will say you're trying to get attention from that person. You're a disgusting human being. You're, you know, just disgusting words. It really goes into a cycle. And as a partner, as a person who's involved in that, you look at your narcissist partner and you just try to convince them otherwise. Mm-hmm. And you feel like you're losing your grip, and you're sitting there and trying to appease them. And, you know, next, you know, you go through this whole cycle of back and forth, eggshells, you're walking on eggshells. I mean, it's very, very sad, very sad. You don't even believe in yourself anymore. You think there's something wrong with you. You're convinced in such a way that you think you're worth nothing. You lose your soul. You know, it becomes very, very sad. And the narcissist has a very strong ability to segregate you, where next thing you know, you don't want to see your friends. You don't want to see your family members. Everybody is not, they don't know who you truly are, will be convinced in your head because you think you're just, you know, you think you're great, but your narcissist partner really knows who you are. And you're very convinced of being the most terrible, terrible human being. And you're so in love with this partner who goes into this cycle of, you know, of the love bombing, then the cycle of toxicity. And then you're sitting there begging that person, no, I'm sorry. And then they're like, okay, fine, I will let you have this chance this time. And you just go into this vicious, vicious cycle. Mm-hmm. And for a person who is from the outside, logically speaking, you know, it looks very simple. Well, if someone is treating you in a negative way, if someone is abusing you, whether it's mental or physical, it's simple, just get out. But the toxic draw of a narcissist is unbelievable. That no matter how intelligent you are, or how stable you are, or how much of a stable environment maybe you came from with family background or anything, you are convinced that you cannot live without this person. Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult for anyone to get through to your head. And a lot of times, even if the narcissist segregates you, you yourself segregate yourself because you're in denial. You don't want your friend to tell you, get out, or what are you doing, or you're losing yourself. You know, you're hoping that this will work, you know. Mm-hmm. It's a terrible situation.
Yeah, I think I told you a little while ago that I've had my fair share of having a narcissist as a relative. Not this close, luckily, mm-hmm. But they can also be very charming. So before your friends and your family, before they believe you that this is going on, that's almost impossible, because they see this charming man that is doing, you know, that is in love with you, and yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. Like, so charming. Like, when a narcissist walks in a room, it is the center of light and attention. Like, he will take over the entire room. And this is what they love. They feed off of that, because for them, that attention equates love. Mm-hmm. And that's what they need to survive. Mm-hmm. They need that. Even when the thought of them pulling down their partner, like a very independent, successful woman, to know that they can have that partner eating out of their hands, it feeds their ego. Mm-hmm. So now you see a narcissist that comes into this beautiful party and so charming, and you will see him always going up to the partner and kissing her on the head and holding her hand and getting the food. I mean, the ideal Prince Charming. But once that door is closed, oh my God. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The belittling and the mental torture.
Yeah, reality kicks in. Yes. Yeah. And you really have to work on it. You have to treat it, because that is having the power to step back and really be aware of what is going on and step out of that relationship, because mentally you're really it's getting worse and worse.
Well, you're completely confused. You don't know what's hitting you.
Yeah.
you're convinced. You have to remember something and go, these women are convinced there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
They can't see this, because to them, they're seeing what everyone else is seeing, this beautiful person outside. And then when they go behind that closed door, that man actually says to them, you're lucky you have me.
Mm-hmm.
Only I would deal with a person like you. You're horrific. You're disgusting. You're terrible. You're this, you're that. All sorts of things that you actually feel like, oh, I'm so lucky to have this person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
No one would ever deal. I mean, you've lost everything about yourself. Your complete self-worth is gone. Mm-hmm. And even the red flags that come into your head, you ignore it. Mm-hmm. Because you want this person so bad. Mm-hmm. And this is where awareness is so important. Mm-hmm. Because you're so involved, you have no idea that this is actually a disease. This is actually a disorder. People do not know that. And this is where awareness is needed. And then support. Unfortunately, not much support is there for these women, because people look at it as, well, get out. Simple. But it's not. It's like any other addiction.
Yeah.
It's a disease. It's a disease. You're very much addicted in this toxic relationship, mm-hmm. And you're in this toxic bonding, and it's very difficult to come out of it. Very difficult.
So what do you experience? Well, first you have experienced it firsthand, of course, in your own relationship. But do you see that things like this, is it getting worse? What do you see in your practice that you're dealing with the women who in these relationships?
Well, the thing is that a lot of women who are in these relationships, first of all, awareness comes. So once awareness comes, they seek. They are on Google, they're on all sorts of media seeking NPD, narcissistic relationship. What is this? But even if they read, they're reading to see what is it possible, the possibility that this person is different. Mm-hmm. Even if the awareness is there, this is a narcissist, A, B, C, D. Oh, well, they don't have D, so this is different. I have a chance he will change. Mm-hmm. And this is where they're struggling. Oh no, he's different. He's not this. He's not that. He really does love me. And it's coming to the point of challenging yourself, and coming to awareness, one, then accepting this person is this. And then you have to reprogram your mindset. And that's number one, that's hard, is reprogramming your mindset. Number two, understanding that this is real. This is not your fault. Growing your self-worth again. And not only that, your self-love, because most of these people who are in this relationship, sadly to say, it is a codependent relationship, because when you make someone else feel good, you feel like you're loved. So you have to learn to love yourself and learn that I am enough, number one. Two, reprogramming your mindset. Three, absolutely no contact. You just can't have contact with this person. That's the number one thing you have to do, is no contact. And then going through a lot of healing process and recovery process. And that's where I am quite specialized in for most people. It's not just psychotherapy or drugs. You can't do it. You have to heal from what's happened. You have to have the perspective and understanding of what's happened. You have to stop blaming yourself for what happened. And this is a little process. And that's what most of my clients are with me for, Mm-hmm. And they usually come out of it very good. I have a very wonderful success rate. I really take on people who want to help themselves. You can either help yourself or you can become a victim. So that's important. Once you choose that, then there's a tunnel. That light is there, and we will work together and make that happen.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's really necessary, because the thing that we've also been talking about before is that, it's not just the person, but it's also the children. And, it goes on. If you don't treat it well, it goes on for generations. The women take it with them, the children take it with them. And, you really have to do this the right way. Yeah.
Yeah. Because one thing is, if you have a family member, let's say your mother or father is a narcissist, their situation is very different, because you can't cut off your father, or you can't cut off your mother. So now it's like you can't cut off your arm, you need it. and it, yes, a lot of people do advocate saying cut off your mother or cut off your father. If it's possible and you think you can do that, I mean, sure. But generally speaking, most people can't. They can't cut off their family member. They can't cut off their daughter or their son or whoever it is. So there are tools that you need to understand to utilize for yourself so that you can protect yourself from that narcissistic behavior of your parent, at the same time formulate a good relationship, without expectation.
Yeah.
So it's definitely done. You just have to kind of realize that this is who they are, this is what they're going to be, and understand your self-worth,
Yeah.
and pull yourself out of it.
Yeah. If we put this in a larger perspective, because this also, of course, causes a lot of stress. And what you see right now is that stress and, people being on medication, being addicted to medication, there's so much going on in this. This is only, of course, one aspect, but, it looks like it's getting bigger and bigger.
Oh, yeah. It's huge. It's because it's so unrecognized. And it's very difficult for a therapist to really go through a narcissistic relationship toxicity unless they've actually gone through it. You really need to have empathy for it. It's not their fault either. It's just such a dynamic and, cruel power drilling situation that you lose every essence of yourself. And it's very difficult for people from the outside to understand that. Very difficult. And especially when you see like people who are well established involved in these relationships. A lot of people generally think toxic abuse or any sort of abusive relationship is generally done with people who are in low socioeconomic situations or bad family backgrounds or lack of support, but absolutely not. Not with narcissism. No, not at all. And that's why it's hard to bring that awareness.
Yeah. Is it bigger because, of course, we're talking as Female Way of Change. This is global movement, and you see that there's societies that are still very patriarchal. Is it more? Is it something that you see more in patriarchal societies, or that there's still this very a lot also about hierarchy?
When you're saying like hierarchy in the sense of, is it that you feel like it's more in a nuclear family based, or?
Well, it's about people taking control.
Well, you see, you have to understand something. We're in a different era now too, where women are more empowered. Women have more work. They're working more. They're more in, very influential places in life. And we're not talking about maybe not even 40 years ago, where hardly women worked. They were very dependent on their spouses and so forth. And if they're in a situation like that, they're going to stay in it. First of all, you have to understand that a lot of people stay in these relationships not only because of dependence of financial gain or whatever, and even if we're talking about people who are independent, it's also culturally. Like, I don't want anyone to know that I'm getting a divorce. I'm considered as a divorcee now, or I'm a single mother with children. I mean, you have so much concepts of other situations involved that it pulls a woman where she's like, no, I'm going to make this work and take the hit. I mean, nowadays, women don't do that anymore. Women don't do that anymore. Women feel, yes, I can raise my kids on my own, and I can live a life and be at peace and happy. And or I'm in a relationship where I feel alone. And if I feel alone already in a relationship, why am I in it? People are choosing to live.
Yeah.
People choosing to live for themselves, not just for society or validation of other people. It's a very different generation.
Yeah.
So I think the exposure of it is coming out more now.
Yeah. And of course, there are societies that it's not accepted and that they really have to go through, a lot of negativity about it, but yes, then they really need that group of family and friends that will support them.
Yeah, but unfortunately what happens is if there's no awareness, a lot of the family and friends will turn around and say, you pull this upon yourself.
Yeah.
You see what he's doing, leave.
Yeah.
If you don't, well, don't call me or don't talk to me, and just throw them out, and they don't understand it's a disease.
Yeah. So we're going through the end of this interview. What is the advice that you would like to give women who recognize, who hear you talk and feel like, oh gosh, what can I do? Or I have this friend, or what is the first thing that you would really tell them, okay, this is it, what to do?
The first thing is, if you have a friend, or if you're going through something like this where you know that you're involved with somebody who's a narcissist, first thing, think about your value. Bring awareness to yourself and understand this person does have a problem. You can't change people. Regardless whether they're a narcissist or any field, you cannot change anybody unless they want to change to begin with. So understand that you must make the change for you. And that means break out of it. Break out of it. You must live for you. You must not be scared. Bring the awareness to yourself, and first establish the no contact. And if it's a friend, explain to them, listen, I've heard about narcissism. These are the things. Look at the material that's out there. It sounds like this is a problem. I'm here to support you. Let us help. Let's make a decision together. And even if it's taking her some time, she will struggle, hold her hand through it. Let her walk her walk. Let her make her tumbles. Let her make her fall. She will realize and be ready to walk out. She will. And at that time, it's going to be tough. And that's where you have to be there for them. Learn meditation, which is an extremely huge healing aspect in this. Meditation, reprogramming your mindset, understanding your own self-worth, loving yourself again. There's a whole theory about epigenetics, which is out there, about how your mindset changes your cell structure, your health becomes better. There's a whole plethora of healing besides just medication. Mm-hmm. And you will get your life back better than before.
I think that's a great statement to finish off this interview. And I really wanted to thank you for it, because, this is really a group we all need to be aware of. It's not just the one who's in that relationship. We all need to be aware of what can be going on and how we can support them. So that's very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Discussing that, we have our global conference in South Africa in September. You are going to be there. You're going to be one of the speakers. So we're really looking forward to that. And it was very nice talking to you today. And we will hear more from you.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.